people tell their kids who Muhammad Ali was.
Play is lightning fast.
He was a tremendous bolt of lightning.
I am the greatest.
Muhammad Ali struck us in the middle of America's darkest night.
He's young, he's handsome, they know it. He's a poet, and many people believe he'll be the next heavyweight champion of the world.
He was leaning back and away from punches.
Rounds or less, the world heavyweight title, the big fight, the big night, round number 1. Here we go. You'll note that Cassius wants to stay out in the center of the ring where he happens to be the king.
Muhammad threw, I don't know, maybe 4 punches at most.
He had gotten knocked out by a punch he didn't see. Muhammad was floating around, and what happened? He made an angle on the guy, missed and had thrown a jab, his head went down. He didn't see the punch. He got hit right on the temple.
Jersey Joe Walcott. Sonny cannot move.
Cassius, you're talking.
I'm not Cassius. You still calling me? I can't get on with
Muhammad,
you.
you're talking in.
I'm not no white man.
You have to talk in general.
So you want to keep calling me a white man's name? I'm not white. I don't want to be called after your name no more. I'm not no slave. I'm Muhammad Ali.
With Clay peppering him, and down he goes. He was in a bad spot in the corner, and he is down. 5, 6.
When we think about the legacy of Muhammad Ali, what he did in the ring is not what we think about.
Because he was doing Gandhi outside of the ring, and he could knock out anybody in the world. The guy could hold court in the poorest of the poor right up to the White House. When he walked in, he lit up the room.
I mean, he literally moved faster and lighter on his feet than most welterweights. Damn, he was fast.
Yeah.
Look at this. But the movement, the side to side, it was like there's no heavyweights that ever moved like that. No one. This is Ali, like in '67. He was sleek.
Fast he is. He goes.
Oh.
Williams will survive the round. All right.
A couple of guys got this thing about trying to get him steamed up.
when I want justice. You my opposed when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
How he wondered whether or not he would ever fight again, and his title was stripped from him. How he was a pariah in America.
His ban was eventually overturned by the Supreme Court.
Ali here today a victim. The Supreme Court exonerated for refusing military induction.
This was Ali's return to the ring after a 3.5-year exile.
The time he was out would have been great. It would have been watching a master at work, because he had reached his full proportions, full maturity. The world never got to see the best of Ali. What you got was plenty, but you didn't see the best of him.
Oh, that left! The crowd screaming, the first knockdown of the fight. He took the mandatory 8, and now Ali is behaving like the old Ali.
See, he didn't spend those 3 years lifting weights and running hills and hitting the heavy bag. He wasn't doing anything.
It's over! Ali is the knockout winner!
2 undefeated champions, 2 champions of the first rank, and Ali coming back to reclaim in many people's minds what was rightly his, but not against some patsy, against Joe Frazier.
Muhammad Ali in the ring in a beautiful, beautiful red and white robe. Now here comes Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier will be here any minute.
We have 2 undefeated fighters in there. Frazier has won all 26 of his bouts with 23 knockouts, and Muhammad Ali has won all 31 of his bouts with 25 knockouts.
The young Muhammad Ali would have run circles around Joe Frazier.
Look at Ali go. Look at him go. Look at him.
I mean, he doesn't look anything like he used to look. I mean, he's bouncing around a little bit in the beginning.
Clamored for it.
I think George Foreman will knock Muhammad Ali out, and it'll end Muhammad Ali's career.
Other boxers were scared, handlers were scared. The only person that didn't appear scared of Foreman was Ali.
I don't prove to the world that I'm still the fastest, the prettiest, the most classist, the most scientific, the greatest fighter of all time.
Everybody was scared, but Muhammad Ali himself.
And Ali is getting the people to chant, Ali Boubaye. That means Ali kill him.
Have you fought many guys who were talkers in the ring?
No, I never get a chance to talk much. By the time you get to know a fella, it's all over.
As for the fight itself, discussion centered not on who would win, but on how much punishment Foreman would dish out.
Time may have come to say goodbye to Muhammad Ali.
And now we understand that George Foreman is about to make his way to the ring.
Because very honestly, I don't think he can beat George Foreman.
Cosell was convinced that Ali is washed up.
This guy was the closest thing to a human monster I'd ever seen before. He was certainly the scariest boxer.
Look at this now as they stare. Muhammad Ali beginning to talk to George Foreman. They're really putting the stare on each other.
I looked him in the eye to stare him down and said, "Oh, George, you were in school when I was beating Sonny Liston."
Gone in the past 4 years beyond 2 rounds in any fight. Wow, a tail thrown by George Foreman.
He knew that the one weakness in this monster, who was thought of as unbeatable, was his stamina.
The first round, all of us yelled out, "Get off the ropes." And he would just say, "Shut up, I know how to do it."
Well, I would say that the round was very even, of course, actually.
And Ali totally got into the guy's head, and he didn't even realize it.
It was Muhammad Ali's fertile mind that created the rope-a-dope.
Here we go, round number 2. The determined Ali get off his stool in between rounds. George Foreman sat down all the way. Ali leaned on the rope with the vicinity of trying to get...
Starting second or third round, when he went to the ropes, he was
calling Foreman all kinds of names, any name of ugliness you can think of.
Definitely serious. Tremendous combination.
He fought just like your initial bump, just lay on the rope and take a whipping. This time he did it with character. He said, hey, I'm going to weather the storm.
The rope-a-dope was something that was invented by Muhammad Ali that night.
I must say, I don't understand those tactics, Joe, of staying on the ropes and letting him hit
it. It just shows you the power of intellect and intelligence and how that can compete against anything.
And believe me, I was a big, powerful giant in the ring with Muhammad. I mean, a knockout artist. He stood up to me.
Foreman setting him up against the rope. Look at him whispering in the ear of Foreman.
George Foreman, so young, so strong.
Not supposed to do, leaning up against the ropes. 4 punches downstairs on Ali.
So fearless.
I had him beat, I really did. And really thought I had him beat up in the body, had him tired.
Continues to talk, continues.
Against George Foreman, he does away with his opponents, one after another, in less than 3 rounds.
George not going that type of distance a long time. He was treading in water, never been in before.
This is the furthest that George Foreman has gone in a fight since 1972. Misses the right hand. Ali is definitely confusing him.
Missing the shots that he missed, it drained him.
Look at Foreman's face. He does look tired.
Nobody knew the strength of Muhammad Ali. He was manhandling him, just like Archie said, grabbing him, and he emptied the guy's tank.
I was afraid he was going to get killed by a George Foreman that many of our young viewers don't know.
Boom, perfect timing.
I thought he was hurt. I thought his body was hurt. He came back. He hit Foreman with everything, and he winked at me.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. He winked right over here to this corner.
You know, the guy really was the people's choice, and he was the people's choice because he loved them.
Yes, I'd hate to predict any fight, but my goodness, those people who said Foreman would win in a flash have certainly been proved wrong.
And about the 7th round, he asked me, "That all you got, George?" That was like a nightmare.
After a while, even the dumbest of us looked up there and said, you know what? He's winning.
Of all time. Muhammad Ali has done it. The great man has done it.
He was, in fact, the greatest heavyweight who ever lived.
I am the greatest.
The world heavyweight boxing champion, Muhammad Ali.
I am the greatest.
8. The referee stops the fight.
He loved people, and he loved the adulation of the crowd.
Joe Frazier will fall.
All of us thought it was going to be a nice, easy fight.
Come on, gorilla. We in Manila.
Where Ali comes out, dances around, the heat, the thump, ba-dum, and knocks him out in 7-8.
A lot of people thought Joe Frazier was washed up.
Joe, no, we got something for you. You have. You better believe it.
He was once described as the world's most famous man, and indeed it's difficult to think of even a contender.
I told you, I'm the champion of the world.
Combination 5 in a row. Left and right too fast.
Who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the world they have to change.
He was somebody that had principles. He stood for something.
The world lost a true icon, Muhammad Ali.
You're being extremely truculent. Whatever truculent mean, if that's good, I'm there.
Ali forced us to take a look at ourselves.
Oh, another right hand!
This brash young man who thrilled us, angered us, confused, and challenged us ultimately became a silent messenger of peace.
Round 5, the champion Ali says, I'm putting you away now. Get ready, you're going down.
He was one of the most influential people of the 20th century and one of the most dominant athletes in the history of sports.
I'm the greatest of all time.